Hello and welcome to Post-Purchase Success, the podcast series by Parcel Lab and the place to learn about how brands and leaders in e-commerce have transformed their experience. I'm your host, Angus Knights. Today's episode is one of two amazing discussions actually recorded live for you on the conference room floor at ShopTalk in Las Vegas. This first discussion is with Logan Dunn, who's the head of e-commerce at Wyze. Wyze is just on this amazing growth trajectory right now. Logan's been at the beating heart of that operation for the last 5 years, so he has so much to share about their growth journey. Tons of highlights in this, but to work out if this episode is for you, we talked about social and media and the role that TikTok and its content engine is playing in really transforming third-party commerce. We talked about scalability in commerce platforms, something that Logan knows a huge amount about and has really been an amazing part of their journey and their transition as they entered sort of hypergrowth mode. And we also, of course, spoke a little bit about the post-purchase experience and why that's such a special part of the journey for a Wyze customer, and also the techniques that Wyze is using to re-engage with their customers at that really emotional part in the journey. So it's a great discussion. Hopefully you can feel the energy from the conference floor. Without further ado, let's dive in. We're recording this episode live from ShopTalk. Logan Dunn, thanks so much for joining. Really happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
And maybe for those who don't know you or don't know Wyze, maybe we could kick off with just a bit of an introduction around you and your role and kind of what Wyze as a business is doing.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Logan Dunn. I'm the head of e-commerce at Wyze. I've been at Wyze for I'm coming up on 5 years, and Wyze is only about a 6.5-year-old company. We still consider ourselves a startup. We are in the tech space. We do smart home. So primarily cameras and home security stuff, for like the self-monitoring home. But we also do smart plugs, smart bulbs, dabble in vacuums and headphones and some other electronics. But we're really trying to create kind of an ecosystem for people to just kind of monitor and know what's going on in their home.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I imagine your home must be full of smart devices. Yeah.
To my wife's displeasure, it is a little bit too smart. She's like, there's so many smart devices, I feel like I'm in a dumb house.
It's bad when you have a power cut. I've been on that side of it.
Exactly.
Amazing. Yeah. And ShopTalk presumably is an event that you come to regularly. There's a lot going, it feels like there's a lot going on this year. How are you finding the conference?
So my favorite thing about ShopTalk is just the caliber of people that are actually here. ShopTalk does a great job on the events and the show, just in general. There's some really compelling names on stage and things, but I think the most compelling thing about ShopTalk is actually the caliber of people that are walking the floor, that are you're meeting at the events, you're meeting at lunches, and like they do the whole meetup program, right? So really, that's what attracts me to ShopTalk, is just like I meet just like really heavy hitter names, really big brands, really incredibly intelligent people, which I think is my favorite part about it. So it meets up to all of the hype, in my opinion, for who you meet.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So talking of brands exhibiting and the caliber here, one of the things that stuck out on me from day one or the first day of the exhibition was just how big the TikTok stall is.
Yeah, just how big the TikTok booth here is. It's a big booth, and they have a lot of people there from TikTok actually at the booth. Yeah.
So you've been quite vocal in the past about how TikTok and like the new role of social commerce is going to be one of the biggest kind of revolutionary factors.
Yeah, we see it. It's happening overseas in the APAC market, like a lot. We see a lot of social commerce kind of leading the front, and not just in TikTok overseas, but in many different platforms. People are used to buying mobile on their phone from influencers, from live streams. We are seeing that trend push this way. And so I think it's a change to North American commerce. Yeah, I definitely think that people are looking to be buying like in the most convenient moment. We want fast shipping. Now we want like easy one-click where we're already consuming our content purchases. And if you think about the difference between, Amazon brought us a marketplace with tons of products. TikTok's bringing us those products into, the content that we consume. You still see gaps in like connected TV and other places for how to purchase. So you're consuming content, but the purchase experience isn't there. Eventually we'll get there. to where you purchase wherever you want. Like you see it on TV, instantly buy. It's probably, in my opinion, going to be a connection from your TV to your device when you buy. But now it's hitting social hard. And I think TikTok's just done a little bit better job than maybe Meta has so far. But you'll see Meta follow. And like I said, it's going to be a trend, I think, for how we as Americans shop.
Yeah. Presumably for you as a brand, then that does create a lot of opportunity, particularly if you're kind of early on that, that train. But I mean, tell us a bit more about kind of like what is it like with that kind of evolution of the way that your customers are buying, and then buying Wyze products as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at like how to grow your business, you have a couple options, right? You can bring in new products into new markets that attract new customers, right? Or you can get into a new channel that like gives you access to customers you haven't accessed before with existing products. And that's really what TikTok is. It's like going into like Costco or a Walmart, or if like you bring on a new retailer, it's like an exciting event. It's a whole new like sales channel, right? And that's what TikTok is for us. Felt very different than when we sold on Meta. It's like it brought in a new sales channel that was very, very impactful to our business, meaning it was very successful, right? We actually saw a lot of sales. I think we were early adopters. We started in May of last year, but we really started to pick up in July. And I mean, we finished the year with like a really healthy sales channel, bigger than some of our smaller retail channels. So yeah, very, very exciting.
Amazing. But it must present also some challenges in a sense, because I suppose access to data and things starts to become a little bit different. I assume that, the social channel wants to have as much control of the channel experience as possible. And then, as a brand, you're kind of like, where do you feel comfortable drawing the line?
Yeah, I mean, TikTok's a 3P commerce channel, right? And so, they don't let you have the customer data fully. You have to know the shipping address and other things, right, in order to get them the product, similar to Amazon 3P. So they're following kind of standard 3P marketplace practices. TikTok is doing similar to Amazon, where if you want to reach those customers, you reach them through the TikTok platform and that seller center. And so I do think they're a little more open, especially through their API. I think we were discussing just yesterday how they're looking at like allowing parcel labs to handle TikTok returns. That's something that like they're exploring, right? Amazon is like very much more closed there. And I think that's a part of like Amazon is marketplace first, TikTok is content first. So they're letting partners come in and maybe solve some of the issues. So there'll be some differences that I think are exciting, that give us a little bit more control over the experience with our customers. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, amazing. And it's cool to see, like, I guess you'd be so excited and kind of at the forefront of experimenting with that. It must be exciting. You've been on such a fast like growth journey over the last 5 years and 6 years as a brand, but to experiment with these new sales channels must also feel quite exciting.
Yeah, I mean, for us, TikTok is like, it's a growth channel, so we're not trying to make money on TikTok from a profit standpoint. Obviously, we're trying to make money in like the growth category, but right now we're putting everything we make back in TikTok back into TikTok, because we see it as like a hyper growth channel, and so that's always exciting. Anything hyper growth is like fun, exciting, and it presents, like you said, new challenges, right? We're working closely with people at TikTok to solve bugs or other issues. TikTok is experiencing hyper growth for them as a company too, and they have growing pains that we see. But it's very fun. You know what I mean? And I would say, I sit with the team. I think our CMO primarily leads the TikTok stuff, and we've got some amazing team members that are like learning everything TikTok and content, and we're making a lot of our own content, and that's a whole new exciting thing. And I don't have a huge part in that content aspect. I do more with like the logistics, like how to get it connected, how to get orders to our customers, how to keep inventory in stock, how to actually like generate those sales, or like deliver, I should say, on the sales generated. But there's like that whole content side, which is just exciting and fun, and we have an awesome team that deals with that and does an amazing job.
Yeah, amazing. So talking of scalability, I know from a growth standpoint, you must have a lot of challenges, or have encountered a lot of challenges over the last 5 or so years. And one thing I was really keen to talk about was Shopify. So I know that you personally are kind of a Shopify advocate and power user, and Wyze is a great example of that scalability. How did you arrive at kind of jumping into that ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been around for 6.5 years. We started on Amazon. Our co-founders are from Amazon, but we immediately were like, no, we're like a direct-to-consumer brand. Even though we sold to Amazon to consumers, like Amazon does feel more obviously direct-to-consumer than a retail channel. So we immediately opened up our Wyze.com site, and since we opened it, Shopify is our third platform. So we've been trying to find a platform that meets our needs. And some of the things we love about Shopify is, I think last year we had almost 100% uptime for our customers, which is big. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to go to Shopify from previous Shopify competitor A, which is just like we wanted to make sure we were always up. The checkout does convert better. We 100% see that from users who enter checkout and complete checkout. Shopify makes that promise. I think I saw a sign as, they have it hanging up in a few places like Shopify converts 36% better. And I mean, I don't have the actual measurement of how much better it is than our previous one, but it feels like it's somewhere around that range.
Yeah.
But I think our favorite thing about Shopify is we went from a previous platform that allowed for a lot of customization, and there's problems with that. Shopify provides guardrails, which is, when I moved into the role of head of e-commerce, that's what I wanted. I was like, I want people to stay within the guardrails, and so I wanted to get a platform that had like pretty specific guardrails. And I think Shopify does a really great job of presenting like a pro level solution, like Shopify Plus, right? That has guardrails but still allows you the customization. And I'm a big believer in like having something that is properly enabled for everyone and yet allows the customization that any big business needs. I'm very against like customize everything.
Yeah.
And so some of the ways that we've grown big with Shopify is we have actually done a lot of like whenever we have an app, a third-party app, and then Shopify releases a feature, we actually get rid of that third-party app, try and use the Shopify feature. And we try and keep our theme like very vanilla to core Shopify. And so, I mean, it looks still like us, but we don't want to hack against the Shopify stuff, because we don't want to have to like make sure and maintain our own code base against the Shopify stuff. You know what I mean?
So you're being very intentional about staying close to kind of the mothership almost as it continues to grow and evolve and offer new functionality that you were getting in a different way.
Exactly. We use custom components in Shopify, for theming and things. We use some custom apps that we built ourselves that we need to do, and Shopify's APIs are great for that. We don't have rate limit problems with Shopify, which we really love. We haven't had like problems with scaling. When we have like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like Shopify pre-scales for all their merchants. And so it's just been like the right balance of what we need. So we're very like sold on Shopify. I mean, there are still a couple pain points for us. Like there are downsides to the closed ecosystem.
Yeah.
There are times when we want to be more custom, and I find myself having to stay in those guardrails. Maybe that's a good thing. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could do X, But yeah, I think that it's helped us to like do more with less resources and really grow.
Yeah, amazing. When you say some of those times where you wish you could move outside the guardrails and you're kind of slightly confined, has that ever been in relation to something that's felt quite strategic, or is it normally things that you're actually comfortable kind of leaving?
No. They are like very much the strategic. Shopify, one of the things I want to do is, once you're in Shopify, like you process all payments, like they have Shopify payments, and that's core to what they want to be, And the biggest piece is like we're hardware plus subscription, and subscriptions are like core to the business, and we want to do more with that. Yeah. Shopify is building out their subscription API rapidly, and we're hoping that they release some features that we think we need to do a SaaS subscription versus just a product delivery subscription. So that's one of those guardrails that we're like, oh, we wish we could, but we can't. But Shopify, I mean, they do 3 major updates each year with their editions that they publish, and very few commerce platforms out there are releasing features at the scale that Shopify does. So we're hopeful for what can happen. I think we're content with the way that we work right now with things, and so we're excited for the future. Yeah.
So it feels forward facing. Actually, you're pretty aligned on direction of travel with the Shopify platform for now?
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, I think that we always keep an open mind to, what's the best thing for the business. And I think there is, alignment that, Shopify is providing for the Wyze.com experience. I mean, we have a headless experience on Shopify too inside of our app, and that works really well. So yeah, I mean, from the general selling Wyze hardware, physical goods to our users, Shopify is great. So we're still working a little bit on that subscription piece and how to make that better. And we're in contact with Shopify and the product manager on the subscription API and stuff like that. So
amazing. And just final thing on Shopify, just because I'm purely curious.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Shop app?
I wish that it was as effective as TikTok Shop.
Because it feels like it's trying to do something similar. I mean, when we were talking earlier about TikTok, and I was just suddenly thinking, actually, I get a lot of this experience through Shop, through save payment stuff and
I think we could spend a whole episode talking about what's happening in commerce with marketplaces, right? I mean, you see Amazon with Buy with Prime. I think we won't be very long before we start to see Buy with Prime marketplaces where you have all these brands coming together on a single site that's, who knows hosting. Maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's someone else, and you have just a bunch of Buy with Prime merchants there. I mean, that's essentially what Shop is, right? They've created their own app. They have Shop Cash. I mean, as a consumer, I love the fact that I can go in and, Shopify has this loyalty program, and then me as a merchant, I can go in and say, give X, multiplier to what Shopify's loyalty program is doing. I do think it needs to be, I haven't heard a single person who's like, oh, Shop is a major sales channel for me.
Yeah.
I know there's merchants out there that do really well with it. So I think Shopify is thinking about that a lot, and they're working on developing it. But I think marketplaces is a thing, right? I mean, that's what TikTok is building. They here's our marketplace. They have the benefit of a traffic engine first. Yeah. Shop does not have that. Shop is we're building a marketplace, and we're hoping the marketplace is good enough to drive traffic. And then they do things to drive traffic to it, of course, right? You get Shopify emails, you're probably, hey, you have this much Shop Cash, go spend it here, right? But they're always going to have that traffic problem, which TikTok has solved. Yeah. Amazon, with the Buy with Prime thing, same thing. They'll always have that traffic problem. They don't have a content engine. But that's what I think we'll start to see is how do we create content to make marketplaces desirable to be there, whether it's content from products, whether it's content from live streams, content from influencers, celebrities, whatever it might be. They have a big burden of getting people into there that I think that they need to work on. But I think Shop is really phenomenal in how they bring their merchants together, how they convert Shopify checkout wherever using their loyalty program. So, I mean, they have something definitely going on. They see this is a path for Shopify growth. I think it's just it'll be built out over time.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So keen to also talk a little bit about post-purchase. Sure. Obviously, that's where Parcel Lab and Wyze.
I literally just got back from a post-purchase session here at ShopTalk, and they were talking about what to do during post-purchase from retail to e-commerce.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a bit more about kind of the role that post-purchase takes for a Wyze customer and for Wyze.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the thing about post-purchase is you don't want your customer to contact customer support, right? You want a great customer support, but usually if your customer contacts customer support, it's because there's a problem, right? So in my mind, post-purchase has a couple reasons. If you think of post-purchase journey, right? There's a few reasons why there should be a post-purchase journey. One, reduce customer support queries, right? Giving the customers proactively what they need. Answering their questions before they need to come to you with the question. That's expensive for you. It's a bad experience for customers. There's queues. There's just you never know how the agent's going to deal with it, or, all of those things, right? And then you also have the revenue side of post-purchase, right? How do you get customers to come back to you? How do you get customers to buy more? How do you make their AOVs larger? How do you, promote loyalty? Right? So reasons for post-purchase are there, right? And that's just an important part of the customer journey in order to get them back into your store.
Yeah. And then in terms of like actually building out that experience, what are some of the things that you see as like the biggest hurdles for a brand that's trying to design those experiences for their consumer?
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle is always like identifying your customer, which is why I think the most important piece is like immediately after the purchase, right? Because you have a time period where you know the customer, you have their attention, and you can effectively message to them. And then the hard part of post-purchase comes post that. Like you have a gap of time where you need to identify. And we have a little bit, I tell people it's like a cheat code, right? Because we're a smart home company. So customers, in order to use the device, they have to come back and register in our app, create an account, add the device, and we have an opportunity to re-engage in post-purchase. And so we have that post-purchase funnel that we use to upsell subscriptions and things. We get the ability to market inside of the app, push messages, in-app messages, emails, when they opt in, things like that, right? So we have this like awesome post-purchase journey from the funnel side, right? Yeah. But the immediately after purchase post-purchase journey, it's like saying the same thing, right? Repeating myself, but that immediately after purchase is like something that we've been keen to build on, mostly for the customer service aspect. Yeah. Just because we do a lot of brand building through the funnels that we get extra access to, being who we are. So we've done a lot, which is where Parcel Labs come in, right? One of the reasons we brought on Parcel Labs for post-purchase instead of our previous provider, besides the fact that our previous provider stopped sending emails for about 9 months, but we won't get into that or who that was. But what it was we actually had a problem, and the problem was we're trying to balance a few parts of post-purchase. So one is customers love to get things fast, right? That's part of post-purchase, right? They order, how fast do they get their package? So we'd partnered with Amazon MCF. We do some stuff with Flexport as well, and we use them because they get really quick post-purchase, click to delivery metrics, and they're really good about tracking. And but the problem that we had was because of how fast it was, sometimes you have the multi-warehouse split shipment issue, right? And they don't charge you specifically for that. That's like their whole business model is like, we will take the burden of making sure inventory is in the right locations, and if it's not, we'll ship it across country if we need to deliver on the delivery promise, right? And that helps, that's the Amazon model, and everyone is trying to be there, which is fantastic. But what happens is customers open a Wyze package, and they say, wait, where's my other 2 cameras that I ordered? I wanted my security system. I've got 1 camera. So then what do? Is they go in and they check for tracking, or they call customer support. So our problem was we were getting a significant amount of where is my order? In our case, it was, where is the rest of my order, right? Yeah. I don't know what that acronym is. Where is the Wismoteur? But anyway, so the idea there was we were having a lot of problems with it. And so we specifically chose Parcel Labs because it did so well with they do their emails based on shipments, not based on orders. Yeah. So it's kind of like you have your order, and the Shopify handles that piece, but then Parcel Lab takes over from the shipment side. So it's always like shipment A is arriving, but you have shipment B still. Yeah. And usually people don't get more than 2 shipments. Obviously, the 3PLs, they don't want to split it into lots of packages, but I would say 2 was very common for us. So Parcel Lab was really good about being here is your one of 2, click here to track. And then when they track, they get to see the tracking page that's here's the status of all of your shipments. So we saw a lot fewer customers actually coming in. We were seeing, our goal was to get about a 15-20% reduction in Wismo. And we did lots of things, so we can't say it's all Parcel Labs, but we do believe that Parcel Labs was a key to helping us get to these metrics that we were targeting. We continue, our goal this year is to have a 10% customer service reduction. And again, doing more with Parcel Labs actually is important to us. And then, there's the whole revenue side. We like the fact that Parcel Labs, they can do order recommendations based on what's in their order. We can say, hey, maybe here's the next part of your journey, and start that a little early before we go back to them, which is even more important for people who don't have the way to get back in touch with their customers, right? It's we're going to use the post-purchase emails for all that they have. So that's been, really successful for us.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks so much for sharing that. And you mentioned, thinking forwards, you mentioned over the next year, you've got that 10% reduction in customer service inquiries is kind of like a goal. But what else are you thinking of in the future? What's kind of next for Wyze on a post-purchase perspective?
Yeah, so interestingly, it's reaching them on our website. So, right, the amount of customers that come into post-purchase. And so we've been looking a lot at like generative AI. We use a company called Big Sur AI that's, emerging company. And we use them to do our like searches, and so figuring out like how to allow that to have customers like get information, which actually in our current integrations for like our customer support chats and things, like we actually use Parcel Labs. So Parcel Labs has a connector to Zendesk, and then that populates like the where's my order automated messages. So that was another big part, because you have the post-purchase emails proactive, which is that's what customers ultimately want. They want you to deliver the message to their inbox. They don't want to have to go to it. But we also are thinking about like how can we, even before they get to the support portal to ask the question, how can we proactively help them see like where their orders are? And so the generative AI, helping to like know if they're here to learn about their where is my orders and how do they do that. And so we're just looking at addressing more proactive questions that customers might have, and then at the same time using a sales agent to resell to them during their queries about where's my order. That's where the generative AI is actually really good, is like, oh, you have a question about your order, but can we help you answer other questions about your products? And can we like instruct you and teach you, like act like an actual agent that's trying to sell in addition to just answering questions about the order. So you're turning a post-purchase question into the next order already. And so that's something we're looking at a lot. We're also looking at doing a little bit more with the Parcel Labs integration with like the product recommendations, being more proactive about those. We've done a little bit more. We do have some exceptions, but we do have something that we're building called our Shipping Genie, which is taking a big database of information about order combinations and deciding the most efficient way, like which is the best, like from speed versus cost for us, and balancing that out. And then how do we get that like make sure that if we give customers like the longer shipping speed, because they might have selected like economy shipping, like that's what we're doing, is an economy shipping option that saves us money. But then how do we manage expectations? So we expect customers to actually be, even though they say, yeah, I'm fine with like 5 to 7 days to get my order, or 7 to 14 or whatever it might be, right? They're actually not fine with that, even though they say that so that they can save on shipping costs. Like we'll give them free shipping if they choose economy. So then we need to be extra proactive about like, where are you? And like Parcel Labs has this feature, which is like they determine if a customer needs an exception because their order's off, but also we can build our own exceptions into it. Like if the order takes this long, or just in general at day 5 from order, send them something that says, hey, don't worry, your package is on the way. Like, remember, you selected this option. It's really managing expectations. So those are some of the things we're looking at for the post-purchase journey, that are specific to like that first order. There's a lot more we're doing on funnels and loyalty programs and things like that too.
Amazing. Awesome. Thanks, Logan. And just finally, before we wrap up, and I haven't prepared you for this at all, but obviously there's probably lots of resources and things that you read and places you go to learn. I know you talked a lot about generative AI. I know you're very involved in thinking about social commerce and what's coming next. And obviously we're here at ShopTalk, which is a great place to come and learn. But are there any kinds of resources or places to go that you would kind of recommend to folks who are interested in kind of staying a bit closer to the pulse on some of these topics?
I think Twitter is or X, right? I think that's probably one of the best places for like the business news, following the people that are the leaders in the industry. I think that's really the best for following specific people. And there's a couple people on there that I follow that I really like. And then there's, I think, coming to the events. Really, if you really want the insider information on what's going on and what to do next, you really have to be talking to other people. by the time it usually hits, podcasts or blogs or things they're useful for sure, no doubt. But it's what happens is it's already like general information. It takes time for information to disseminate into being more public knowledge. And so the sooner you can actually start connecting with other people in your space, other people who are deep into e-commerce, or if you have questions about ads, other people that are deep into ads. Like one, for example, here's one. We found this guy named Ben on Twitter, and one of my buddies at Wyze found him, was talking to him, and he's like just a expert on just the paid world and on performance marketing. And he set up a call with him, and we just said, hey, here's what we're doing, what do you think? And he just like ripped us apart and said, you need to do this and that, and we're making pivots. But I think that's the best way to do it. It's if you can especially like get your leaders in on those conversations. Like if you find someone who is really compelling, like introduce them to one of your leaders. Like that will probably move things faster than sharing a link to a blog, or even if it's like from an industry trend, or like a blog of good rapport, you know what I mean? Yeah. So just like the real people, real connections still moves things faster than anything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Logan, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show as well.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. And for our listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this live episode at ShopTalk. Apologies for any of the background noise. And please don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you may listen to your podcasts. And if you'd like to learn more about all things post-purchase, then please feel free to visit us at parcellab.com. But for now, goodbye.
Bye.